Good day, folks. This is Shippy the Explorer. Saying hi to you. Welcome back to this great station, the Video Go Blogger. And always said thanks for watching and welcome back. And we always love to have you back and sharing this great experience. You know, every time I bring you a video, I know it's a different experience, different from sometimes walking around and having the music and entertainment. But today I thought of bringing you a different type of presentation. And the background is that I'm very much in love with photography, not the process, but pictures on a whole. And I think it's a remarkable thing that that was invented. And I've never come across a picture in the trash or in a pile that is discarded. It hurts my soul when I see that, and if I can get the opportunity to rescue those pictures, then I do. So over the years, I've been rescuing a few pictures, and some of them are gonna come out on another electronic thing, but they're being processed. But today I'm gonna present somewhat of my life and what I am in this world in terms of surrounded about people. So we're going to present some family pictures, old family pictures, some rescued pictures, and what I wanted to do, if this goes viral or worldwide, some of you may recognize ourselves, and some of you may recognize family. And I would love that you contact me in the site and say yes, I recognize those things, and make a comment. And if you need copies of those pictures, then I will be happy to share them with you. So this is my life in pictures, and Shippy the Explorer. I always encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe, folks, because I'm trying to build this station. It only doesn't cost anything. You just click, even if you don't want to watch other videos, but you may find something that's interesting that you want to watch. So here it is. Bear with me, because this might be a little bit different today. So who started? This is Google search, and it says who started photography, and it says Joseph Nicepour, Nixie, and Louis Daguerre are often considered the inventors of photography with cameras as we now know it. The former studied how to experiment with silver chloride and silver halide photography, but could not figure out how to prevent them from darkening when exposed to light. In 1826, Nipsey succeeded in taking the first true camera photograph. He used a sheet of pewter coated with the bitumen, which required an exposure time of at least 8 hours. The subject of this photograph hit close to home for Nipsey. The view from his workroom in Saint-Luc de Varennes, France. That's where he was. The Nipsey holograph is considered to be the earliest known photograph in the history of photography, achieved with the aid of a camera obscura. So That is it, folks. I'm always trying to bring you a bit of history, and but with all the digital things that are going on these days, I think the technology moves a little too fast for guys like me, and I'm just testing. It moves a little bit too fast for me, and I've always so appreciate then the fact that photograph, when it's taken and printed out, it can last forever. So here is the story around photograph and somewhat the history of this person, myself. All right. So the story starts up back then in way back in 1843. This is Alice Maxwell, the daughter of Anne Giscombe, way back in Jamaica. And from the back of the head, you can see the flag. As you know that I'm connected to Jamaica. So the Giscombe family. They grew and they moved around the world. And so this is a family when they moved into Detroit. And here is one of my great aunt. Now, my great aunt's brother was Darius Giscombe. And here he is in his Cuban suit with his cig pipe and everything in front of the house. And this is Jamaica. Here is my grand uncle, John Giscombe. So I'm taking you back. Here is my grandmother, Diana Giscombe, and Everett. If you're looking, this is Everett Giscombe and Keith Giscombe in the picture with her. This is my aunt, Matilda Giscombe. She was a teacher at Lawrence Tavern Primary School for years. And a lot of people may know her till this day. This is my uncle, Leonard Giscombe. And Peter, if you're watching, this is got a picture of your father. This is my uncle, Sigismund Giscombe, and if you notice, he is being presented with a plaque from the World Bank, and that's President McNamara in circa 1969-70. This is my uncle, Bernard Giscombe, in his full regalia, in a Scottish regalia, with his bagpipe and everything. So I'm just presenting the family lineage first, and then we'll go from there. This is Sigismund Giscombe again, my uncle, but eventually became almost an adopted father. This I've seen this picture before. This is the World Bank presentation. Sigismund married Teresa Giscard, and this is Teresa Giscard. Then there was a young man called Reuben Cousley, who was a police person, became superintendent in the St. Catherine region, and was a great detective of Central Police Station in Kingston, Jamaica. Now, this young man met this young lady, Lynette Giscard. Now, that's my mom. That's my father. And that union brought forth this young man. That's me as a baby. And you can see where I haven't changed a bit. That young man trying to get the light, folks, having a glare. That young man grew up and he grew up and he finally met a beautiful young lady. That's Shirley. And that young man has siblings. That's my brother, Carl. And these are cousins and sibling. My sister in the middle, a young cousin in the arm, and my sister sitting in the chair. And a cousin, Tony, and my sister Vinette and Claudette. And they too have grown. They're big people in their own rights. We have a younger brother. This is Junior Lloyd. That young man, he has friends, and from way back. And then we have a young man. I met my wife, and then we start to have kids. And this is my first daughter and first son, and my adopted mom, Teresa. And and a young, handsome young man. And still it haven't changed. So we started having kids, and this is our first child, young picture of our first child. And you can see she was a bike rider even at 1 year old, not even one, and was on the bike. That's our means of transportation. And then the family grew and the family grew. And the family grew. But then again, we also have our big cousin, that's Leonard Giscombe, we grew up with. He worked at Bata, and he is being presented here with a present or some kind of gift from Bata, an award. And tragically died. And here we are, a bunch of cousins. This is from left to right, back to left. From left to right, back row is me, Anthony, Keith, Alti, Junior, and two cousins from Detroit and Everett. Jeffrey and Gary, and then Everett. So we had a wonderful time in growing up in Lawrence Tavern, St. Andrew region. There we are. This is Paddy again with his family. Lance and Marlon. And Paddy again. Also Leonard Giscombe. That's one side of the family, folks. All right. So, presentation continues. When I met my wife, obviously she had also her family, and her family, her lineage started out with what they call, this is Mabel. That's Mabel and her granddaughter. Now, my wife's parents are Howen and Hethlin Psalms. And they produced a beautiful young lady by the name of Shirley. I will show you. And this is the marriage they got. Shirley's parents got married in London. That's her grandfather there, her mom and dad, and a lot of uncles and aunts and friends. Show you the faces so that if you can recognize some of them. So I'm moving from picture back to somewhat digital presentation, folks. So it's an interesting, to me it's interesting. I hope you find it interesting also. Now this is my wife, baby's picture, maybe at 1 year old, maybe 1.5 or 2. And this is her mom again. Eplin Psalms. How beautiful. And that young lady, she is grown, and she is grown, and still beautiful. And this is a young lady with her grandmother, Mabel, well, not Mabel, Malizzie, Elizabeth Mikulski. Bring you over. So Elizabeth Mikulski had a instrumental very important time with my wife, because while her mother, Shirley's mother, migrated to England, her grandmother, Elizabeth, took care of her. And you can see they had a picture taken. I don't know, she looks like she's about 4. And this picture is 1976, Shirley and her grandmother. So what I'm doing is giving you the lineage or the family line for both sides, myself and my wife. And here we are, it's Shirley's brother, first child born out of Jamaica for that family, and born in London. And I understand recently he's Noel, and he was named by the mayor of London. How interesting. So he's a famous man in his own rights. And here we are. The couple continue to have another child, which is Beverly. And this is Shirley's sister. So 2 were, and here we are, and Noel, he's now happily married to Yvonne. That's on his wedding day. So that's basically 2 sides of the family, and so that's what has happened. So what makes me love pictures so much that I can't throw them away, can't bear to see them get damaged, and I love to be able to just go into the old album and rescue and find these things and look at them and reminiscent. You know, the electronics, sometimes you can't even find the password to get back in. So those of you who are able to manage the electronics, that's fine. But I love my old pictures. Right. So There's another side to to me, and that is my lineage to the Hears. Blanche, this is Blanche, Heare, and I am connected to the Morrisons, and I'm also connected to the Giscombs. So this is Blanche Heare, Mr. Morrison's grandmother. Another picture of her. So why am I showing these pictures of the Mr. Morrison's side of the family? Because really what happened, I'll show you soon. My aunt, when she passed, we were cleaning out her house, and I came across her family pictures, and they were about to be thrown out. And knowing myself, I couldn't bear throwing them out, so I have rescued them, and the family wants to know that I have these pictures, and because they have been rescued by me, and I have copies of them. So that's why I have these pictures. The Blanche here. Blanche here. I think this is her with one of her grandkids. This is Blanche here again. Remember, Blanche here is the grandmother for Mr. Morrison. Now, Aunt Tony is sister to Mr. Morrison, and Aunt Tony, this is the one when she passed. Their pictures were about to enter the trash bin, and I picked them up and saved them. So that's Aunt Tony. Well, I put back Aunt Tony. Aunt Tony has an interesting, when she started growing up, she was taken from Jamaica to Cuba, where she actually grew up with her grandmother, which is Heare. So Aunt Tony grew up knowing Spanish and obviously English. So we have a Cuban connection, folks, because Aunt Tony spent a lot of time in Cuba. Now, Aunt Tony met an older gentleman, and he's Mr. Richards, Charles Richards. And I start out with Charles with his military uniform, which those of us who are military minded will appreciate this picture. So this is Charles and Aunt Tony, and Venant and her brother. So what was Charles' experience in the military? As he grew up, it seems like he He grew up. It seems like he joined. He entered World War. It seems like World War II uniform. His excursion took them into the Palestine, Northern Africa region. And these are pictures from the, which is one of his company. If you can see if I can get some light in it. It's not as a good picture, but you can see. So it's a World War II military unit that's in the northern part of Africa, maybe around Palestine, maybe Morocco, maybe around that region. Another picture rescued. So let me bring this thing a little bit down more so I don't have to be stretching my arm so bad. So Mr. Charles Richards in the military. That continues. You can see where the picture has turned. Can't get a good grasp of this, folks. I'll just hold the picture in my arm and see if I can get a better picture. If you look good, you can see the officers. Obviously, the officers are white and the other soldiers are black. That was a common occurrence in those days. I tried to use these pictures at the Smithsonian, but I don't think they wanted to use them. Now Charles, I don't know. I'm not sure of his history. Most obviously is after the war. He seems like he was residing in Cuba. He was born in Jamaica, but a lot of Jamaicans moved to Cuba. If you know the history of that region, folks. So Charles moved to Cuba, and he was a chauffeur. And you can see his card, Charles A. Richards, English-speaking chauffeur, and try to get the address. It says Zuluta 212. Zuluta 212, Havana, Cuba. So he must have been a good chauffeur, because these are some of the, this is the car that he drove for. Obviously, it was a rich person that he was a chauffeur for. And here is a picture of Charles, maybe on an excursion, taking the rich folks around Cuba. And the card, I'm lucky to say that the card, it says, Dr. Charles Richards, given a high-class job of showing the sights of Havana to the Honorable Mr. and Mistress R.S. Creeder of 310 Summit Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York, during the week of July the 23rd, 1959. So that's an historical picture of Charles escorting and demonstrating and showing this rich family, the Creeder family around Havana. Now, I found these pictures and I'm wondering if these were the Creeders. Creeders. I'm wondering if these were the Creeders. Not too sure, not sure, but obviously rich family. This is a picture of them. Seem like they just landed at the airport. You can see the plane, the big wheel in the back, and these are historical pictures, but you can pick up a lot of information from just okay, that's a better position. Right. Okay. So I'm not sure. Maybe somebody in New York, that house still exists. The Creeders lived, remember, they lived at 310 Summit Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. So maybe the family is still around and you're coming across these pictures and maybe you recognize them and you could probably say, okay, that's my family. And then if you contact me, then it's possible that you can get copies of the original pictures. You can see this family. It could be the Creeders, but you can see that they're somewhat, they're wealthy. Seems like they're aristocratic folks, and Charles used to drive for them. These are, I'm not sure if it's New York or Cuba, but they have some magnificent dogs, folks. And this is my favorite picture. If you can look good, you can see Charles in the background. He has obviously driven to the farm, and on the farm you can see him in the car that we took earlier. The Caucasian family, the gentleman is on his horse, and somebody is in the car that looks like a family member. And obviously on the farm he has helpers, and I wouldn't say these are slaves, because this is in the 50s, 40s, 50s, folks. So although Cuba had slavery until the 1860s, But these are not slaves. These are just workers. I would love to take copies of this picture and go back to Cuba on a trip and see if I can find any connection to this farm. It would be a wonderful experience, I think. So, I'm just going to go through a series of pictures that were saved from Antony's collection. And this is Guanago Beach, Puerto Cabello, Venezuela. Antony in the center, and I think her brother-in-law is in the left. Her husband is in the front row, centered, Mr. Richards. Here's Charles Richards with one of the dogs. Folks, this is, so he was a chauffeur, but obviously wanted to take a picture with one of those great, I don't know if it's dames, but I don't know what type of dogs are they, but they look magnificent. Quite, looks like bulldogs. But those of you who know dogs, you can tell me what these are, what this one is. That's Mr. Charles Richards. We have rescued his Republic of Cuba Ministerio de Obras Públicas, his identification card, and it says that Charles Richards, Natural de Jamaica, direction, the avenue where he lived is Avenue de Colombia, and his race was Negro, and cargo, I don't even know, Cabrelio, and journal, this is something like maybe the money he had, $3.17, and this was taken in October 1946, folks. And this is his signature. So Charles was, when you see signatures on pictures and documents in the whole of people, that's telling you that they were somewhat educated. And this is a young picture of Charles. Here he is again, another card. Mr. Charles Richards. Remember, Charles was married to Antony. And on the back of this card, it's difficult to read. This is to certify that Mr. Charles Richards, badge number 1338, whose signature and photograph appears on the reverse side, was employed by as an engineer at Batista Airport, Cuba, from the 25th of March, 1943. Wow. That's a anti-work card. So remarkable to, okay, this is Dr. Vincent, Antony's brother-in-law. And he was from St. Lucia, and this is Dr. Vincent. And one of, maybe, I don't know, the young baby, but Antony and Dr. Vincent. He was a dentist from St. Lucia. This is Aunt Tony and Charles Richards. You can see the old car. It must be one of the 50s cars. Now this is an interesting picture. This is Charles Richards' son. This is Charles Richards Jr. And this is important. If I don't know if they're alive, anybody is alive in this picture, but it's possible. And if you're seeing yourself out there, you know that pictures of you exist. This is Charles Richards Jr. And obviously it seemed like his wife and daughter. This is our aunt. Oops, sorry folks. Oh, I have a little bit to spill here. This is one of Mr. Morrison's aunt. We call her Aunt Rose. And I actually knew her. Aunt Tony again. Aunt Tony and Mr. Richards on the left. Seem like Dr. Vincent in the middle, and Charles Richards Jr. on the right side, on the right of the picture. This is a ship that meant maybe a lot to Aunt Tony, so I rescued it, and on the back of the picture, I won't read all of it. It says, issued for British Information Services by Photographs Division. British firm makes aluminum funnels for the Swedish American liner. And this ship was built at a cost of about £7 million by the well-known British shipbuilding firm John Brown and Company. This elegant vessel of 26,000 tons was designed for cruising with 450 passengers in first class or 750 in the second class. And the ship is the passenger liner MS Kongslum. And what they were featuring is that the aluminum, the funnels were made from aluminum, and the fact that they could retract so that they could pass on a bridge or something like that. So it explains that it was telescoped to enable the ship to pass on the bridges of a KIEL canal. So we get in there, folks. This is Charles Richards Jr. and the father. Charles Richards Jr. This is an Aunt Dorothy, Mr. Morrison's sister and Aunt Tony's sister. This is Aunt Tony. Look like she's on a farm back in the old country, most likely Cuba, or it could be St. Lucia. This is Aunt Tony and her friends back in Washington. This is Aunt Rose, not a good picture, but it's Aunt Rose. Her name was Aunt Rose, well, Rose Anderson, folks. See if I can bring her up a little bit better. This is Charles Richards Jr., obviously at a party. And this is Mr. Morrison, Lloyd Morrison. He was quite a character. I actually was named by Morrison using his name. But there we go. This is another picture of Mr. Morrison. Aunt Tony and her friend, and Mr. Charles Sr. when he was a little older person at this time. So these pictures, I'll just run through them. This might be Cuba, Mr. Charles Richards, again. There's a glare, trying to get rid of the glare. Aunt Tony if you know the picture in the background, you know that it's the Pitons, or Pitons, famous Pitons, or volcanic hills in St. Lucia. So obviously I don't have to know where she's, don't have to say where she's from, the picture says it for us. Seems like we're party people, folks. Mr. Richards and Dr. Vincent and Aunt Tony, they obviously were having a good time with friends. Obviously look like, not even sure, could be Christmas party, but they must have had a lot of parties. Charles Richards, his older estate with some military folks. And those of you who are military, you can identify the uniform. I'm not able to, I'm not an expert at that. Here's Aunt Tony again, in obviously St. Lucia, with the Pitons, the volcanic mountain. Somebody must have taken this old plane to this country, and maybe to Cuba, but the plane says, it looks like VIGIE, Veggie Airport, Castries. So the airport in Castries, St. Lucia. Castries, I think Castries is in St. Lucia. 1902. So that date is kind of hard to believe, because the first planes were flying from College Park 1903 to 1912. I'm not sure. I think this picture is probably labeled wrong, but the airport is correct. There we are. Family picture, Mr. Morrison in the background, Aunt Tony. Seemed like a birthday, maybe for Carl Morrison, young man in the picture. I'm assuming it's Carl. Maybe if he looks at this tape, he will see. He will confirm for me. Aunt Tony again, real sport girl, lady of fashion. It was quite a character. Very effervescent, happy all the time. It's a joy to be around her. And the story is that Aunt Tony had gone to St. Lucia to look after these two kids when they were babies, Venant and Johnny, Vincent, and Venant Vincent. That's Dr. Vincent's kids. And they are still alive, so if you guys, as cousins, you can reach out to me and can get copies of your picture. Because you guys are getting up in age also. So I'll just show you another set of pictures that was rescued, and don't know the name, but they were living at one of the homes, but couldn't ever throw away these pictures, folks. So this is just to show that I am rescuing these pictures, and this is the family themselves. So that's it, folks. It seems personalized, but obviously you have enjoyed some of the scenery and some of the photography, and hopefully I wasn't shaking too much because the instruments my props are not as good, but obviously you can get something out of this this tape. It's Shippy the Explorer, bringing you another bit of history, and just to say why I love pictures. I really love pictures. Can't really dispose of them because, and I love the fact that they are readily available once you print them out and you have them. Those of you, as I said, if you're in your electronic gadgets and you can reach them and you can keep abreast of the technology, that's wonderful. But I just love my old still pictures. So this is call came in, but it's not a good call. So that's it. Hopefully you have enjoyed this and been informed. And just to encourage you, if you have your pictures, take care of them. Don't throw them out. If you like to throw them out, that's on you. But I would encourage you not to throw pictures out. If you're having, I always say that if you have a tragedy at home, say, God forbid, say a fire, the two other things that I would run back in for is save lives and pictures. Save lives and pictures. Anything else, like passport or money or documents. Some of the documents, they're one-time documents, but most times documents can be replaced, but and money can be replaced, but life and pictures are two of the most important things that I find if you want to save out of the trash or out of a ticklish situation, life-threatening situation, save life and save pictures. So that's the presentation today, folks. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and do subscribe. I trust that you are doing well, and always keep hope alive. Do the best you can in life. Be happy as much as possible. Be productive. That's it, folks. Talk to you some other time when Shippy the Explorer will bring another, hopefully, interesting topic.